e-gaming bets. We accept bets on computer games online since 2011. Referral system for regular users and the first deposit bonus. Gaming devices store and the best choice of payment systems. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, Counter-Strike and StarCraft, World of Tanks and League of Legends. EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win.
G2A.com, the best video game store ever! Fast as lightning, solid as a rock, cheap as duck! What's more, you can sell on it because it's also a marketplace. Remember G2A.com, the best video game store ever!
Hello everybody and welcome back to your coverage of the Southeast Asian Division of the Dota Pit Season 4 by G2A. I'm Toby1 here with the illustrious Blitz as we are going to be doing the one and only series today. Sorry, we had 4 yesterday and today we have 1.
It's a best of 3 though, right?
No, best 2-game series.
It's a 2-game series? 2-game
series. We get 3 points for a full win. It's the same system as the TI in the major group stages. So 3 points for a full win, 1 point for a draw. We can actually quickly have a look at this too. So Fnatic is actually on top of the board with 4 points after their 1 win and their 1 draw, their draw being yesterday. And Trust had themselves a little bit of a rough run yesterday, so they actually ended up getting 2-0'd. So they are currently sitting at the bottom next to first departure. But let's get ourselves inside the draft because that's already underway. And we can see how it's all unfolding. As Signature.Trust go again once more for this Slaughter play.
I think ADTR, the player for Fnatic, was their coach, right?
Correct. Correct.
At the major? Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think I've played against them before. But, you know, they just recently kicked black. They've had some lineup changes. Maybe that affects some stuff. I'm sure he's a capable player, though, so things are probably fine. From Signature.Trust, Lakells is the big name that stands out for me. He was the player that we played against in the TI 4C qualifier for TI when I was still on Zephyr, and he was pretty YOLO. Like, I remember he would just kind of go in, make stuff happen by himself. I'm not 100% sure if he was the player, but we won a game in the qualifiers, and a player on the enemy team was like 1-0 and 0, and I think that was Lakells. So sometimes he has games like that.
Well, for our sake, I'm hoping he's not 1-0-0.
I mean,
then again, that's not really a bad thing, is it?
It was for them at the time. Wait, I think he was actually 0-0-0. I can't remember. It was such a
just a complete non-involvement pact.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But
well, I can tell you at least a little bit about ADTR for Fnatic. He's played a grand total of 2 heroes in his 4 games he stood in. He played 2 Gyrocopter games the first time around, and then he played 2 Wraith Kings the second time around. He's actually one of the few people I've ever seen buy an Agadim Scepter on his Wraith King.
I mean, the C region always has some weird ideas about Dota. Like, they kind of push the boundaries of what's normal. And when you're playing on a team with Mushi, especially, that's true. I've seen Mushi go, like, 2 Ironwood branches to start with on a hero like Mirana, and then rush Arcane Boots. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's interesting to say the least.
Sorry, I'm just double checking because we're a little bit low.
No problem, no problem.
I blame Capitalist and DOTA. They were in the studio last night. Easy to blame.
I'm pretty excited, though, to watch this matchup. I want to see if this is going to be the new Fnatic roster.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if ADTR does actually stay in it. He wasn't playing bad. He actually played really good number 1 positions.
I think part of the problem
Disruptor.
with their style, maybe with Black, was that maybe they felt like they were too limited with him. I'm not saying that Black isn't a good player. He definitely is. I think that whole meme about him being like a 4K carry or something like that is completely overblown. But he's kind of like Burning in the sense that you definitely have to play around his style, where he's going to be the anti-mage type hero that, you know, will 1v5.
Huskar!
And I think that type of style, right now anyways, for this kind of game isn't as strong. Or maybe it was just, you know, this is pure speculation. I have no idea about the inner workings of their team.
It's kind of funny you say that after his performance 2 days ago, because he did play for Fnatic 2 days ago. He played a win range at mid, and his rotations were perfectly on the mark. He was actually like 8-0-6 about 20 minutes into the game.
I mean, he's a talented player. It could very well just be like a communication thing, or it just simply didn't work out. Most of the time, it's one of those situations where if the team really isn't working out, and it really didn't, right? It didn't go well at the majors. It went pretty disastrously there.
Yeah.
And they haven't even been at the top of the C region, which has been taken over pretty much by Mineski, who's getting into everything right now. Like, Mineski qualifies for the summit. They do fairly decently at the majors, not finishing bottom 2. I think showings like that are really indicative that the C scene can still do it. I mean, we saw MVP Phoenix make a really deep run at TI. They got top 8 for crying out loud, and it's definitely doable from the C region, but for some reason Fnatic, they're not doing it. Like, at TI they completely flopped.
It's crazy when you look at also the players you've got there. Like, these players, they've won before. We always have to remember what happened to Orange back at, I believe it was TI3 that ended up happening.
Yeah, they could have won the whole thing if not for that Aegis deny. And you don't know what their limit was. They could have at least finished top 2. That was really a turning point when they lost that. But
never forget. Never forget.
I saw them after that game, and I can't remember. I guess it's been a while, so I don't mind bringing it up. But I remember one of their players like in tears, and he was just like, "I can't believe like we're going out like this." I felt so bad.
It really is crushing. Like, if you lose to better play, like Synderen always says, as long as I played my best, I'm okay walking away with a loss.
Yeah.
But without it, yeah, it's painful. Let's look at that draft, man, because we're down to our last couple of bans and picks. So everything was pretty much standard, especially from Fnatic. They played almost this exact draft yesterday, actually 2 days ago, when they ran their Gyros. And Signature.Trust going to answer back with popular hero against Gyro, the Huskar.
I think the Huskar just hard counters the Gyrocopter. The Gyrocopter is not the hard-hitting one carry. He actually almost entirely relies on his abilities, the Rocket Barrage and the Call Down being the most prevalent. Like, the Flak Cannon comes in handy later on, and the Missile is pretty underrated, but in the early mid-game anyways, it's all reliant on his abilities. Like, he doesn't build into damage. You usually see him go like drums, S and Y, items like that. So the Huskar thrives against that. It pretty much heals him when he's calling him down and stuff like that. And the Earthshaker, the Disruptor don't really do anything against him, and that's why Fnatic, they have to respond. This is the one issue with picking Huskar 4th, that you have to take a hero like TA just to counter him. But even then, Huskar does okay against TA. At that point, it's kind of just like a rush to see who can Roshan first.
5 seconds.
Are you locked into actually running Huskar in the mid lane? Because I know you want to get only levels on him, but you're still running a Queen of Pain in your draft.
No, you're not locked into him at all. I just mean when it comes to team fights early, like the Burning Spear just destroys Refraction. And TA is one of those heroes that I like to say is deceptively tanky, because... Or she's deceptively squishy, I mean. Because with Refraction you think she's tanky, but if you have any ability that can instantly cut through it, you get destroyed.
They last pick up an Alchemist. Now, I think long are the days where we were running support Alchemists. So we have to look towards the Quap or the Slaughter to actually move into that support role.
I think it's more likely... I've seen Queen of Pain run it as a support a few times. That's really not too big of an issue. I'm really just interested, in my opinion, whether or not Signature.Trust can beat this Fnatic lineup. And I mean, Fnatic have to be feeling a little bit weird right now. After a kick, Toby, you feel like one of two things as a team. You're either like, yeah, we got rid of the reason why we're losing, or you're just like, damn, we suck.
5 seconds remaining.
I mentioned this to you before we started. Like, Mushi disappeared 2 days ago, and that was when Black was still playing for Fnatic, ended up 2-0, and then they go into their game yesterday, and they they had a lot of hiccups in their second game, causing it to end up being a 1-1. And life was not simple for them. They actually ended up having a base race contest at the end of the day. So things were really not secure for them yesterday. So I'm interested to see if they can just get that out of their minds as well. Not just with the way their team functions, but with everything else.
I think when you have somebody that you trust playing with, and they probably trust their coach, right? I mean, this is probably like a team decision, like, hey, if we're not going to try on anybody, let's use him for now. Like, team spirits are probably pretty decent. But it is going to be an Alch mid, and what looks to be a Queen of Pain as a support. Which is a Mango. We've seen this from Alliance a few times, so this is not that big of a deal. It does pretty well against Fnatic's lineup too. It's a frontline tank. Like, if you look at Fnatic's lineup, the question is, do they have enough to cut through Huskar, Dazzle, and Alch? That's going to be 6-slotted. Probably not. So from Fnatic's standpoint, you probably try to get aggressive, secure as many objectives as you can before this lineup gets going, because you don't want to fight against this. You don't have that much wave clear too if you're Fnatic. I guess you have Splinter Blast, but that's kind of like a poor man's wave clear. You want a carry that can instantly cut through creeps.
So
they don't really have that.
So how do you approach this if you're Fnatic? Do you look at Signature.Trust and say, okay, well, we're going to hit this timing when we're strong against them? Or does it have to almost come down to get the TA early momentum and then use the disruptor to catch someone out of position and just go kill by kill by kill?
I think you just try to secure your own jungle as soon as you can. Rotate the gyrocopter as much as you possibly can, and have Ohio make a few rotations early to secure the mid lane. And then from there, try to secure the Roshan around. Like,
oh, they're already starting on middle lane. MyPro being attacked. DJ's coming in for the courier, however, and that might be even a bigger thing. It didn't have the bottle on it. The bottle was already delivered to the Alchemist, but it still stops the ferrying of MyPro.
That's not too bad, but it's a good gold lead early for them, and it's a moral, like a morale thing too. Oftentimes, if I lose my courier in a pub game like this, I'm just like, this game sucks.
So there's just no way back after that.
Yeah.
But when you're an Alchemist, just bounty room, and you're already ahead.
You really want to secure the TA this matchup as much as you can. That's why you saw that rotation early on. You want to absolutely make sure that the TA does well in this matchup. You can't let the Alchemist start quick.
Alright, so ADTR is now getting support from DJ. So DJ, after doing his work in the mid, comes on the bottom to keep the Queen of Pain out. And between the Quap as well as the Slaughter, they've actually managed to find a lot of CS. The Slaughter is actually the highest CSer on the board, even above that of the TA. As if you're not counting the denies of Mushi. But they've got actually a lot of action coming on bottom lane. There's Jab running forward towards DJ. He'll get that cross shot, but he's losing a lot of life to do this. DJ, he's actually going to drop at the end of the day. And the Queen of Pain, with that kill, finds herself a level, so she's able to blink herself away to safety. The Slaughter not so lucky, so ends up being a 1-for-1 trade-off, but Trust gets the bonus gold at the start.
No, that's pretty fantastic for Trust. They were able to get the first blood, which is the biggest thing. And your Queen of Pain gets some XP.
MyPro might be... Okay.
No, he's just being sent back. That was a really smart block by Ohio. This is actually going to make him go all the way around. He's out of regen anyways, and this is just going to be a further hindrance. And I believe he was able to deny the rune too. Yeah, Mushi was able to grab that. That was a huge net win for them overall.
If that was something like a haste stream, Mushi would have been running off to find that kill on the Alchemist. That might have also been the secondary hope. But this top lane for Ohio, he actually hasn't found much of anything. Mikasa's been really zoning him out nicely. And this is with the pull camp being blocked. You have a level 1 Earthshaker when you block the pull camp.
They've done a fantastic job so far of making sure that he can't get close. There's a lot of killing potential between Lakel's and this Earthshaker. Ohio, though, he's a smart enough offlaner to make this work. He's even going to block the stack over here on this the hard camp. And it's a really good move to do. Makes it so that if the Dazzle is going to go and do that, he has to leave the lane. But even then, Earthshaker versus Huskar, it's not like that's an easy lane for the Earthshaker whatsoever.
Rotating more support into middle lane, so Signature.Trust now walking around with 3 heroes in the mid lane. DJ's going to come to give a bit of a hand, but If they're trying to slow down Mushi, he's already got a hell of a lot from the start of this, but with Queen of Pain, they can't get close enough, and there's no concoction of herbal as well from MyPro. So they don't really have a stun lockdown. Even if they did have that, they needed to fight within the sentry wall they planted in the mid, and Mushi's just not giving them the opportunity.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. And, I mean, this is a lane that you can't really kill with those two heroes anyways. It's kind of fake pressure. That's why you saw Mushi didn't even really care. And that's why Signature.Trust are going to give up on this. There's absolutely no reason to go for that kind of harass. You kind of want to help out the Alc, but it's a troubling sign when your Alchemist is actually behind the Templar Assassin just 4 minutes into the game, considering the type of lead that you get with that bounty rune. But they've done such a good job of shutting him out. And at top...
Wow, Huskar actually took out the Earthshaker. I shouldn't be that surprised with a level 5 Huskar. I was actually waiting for the bottom lane to try and initiate with that blink as well as Shadow Strike onto ADTR. And the crush going to miss from jab, however. And Ned's hovering around the back. He actually went up for 2 points up in Splinter Blast, so there's no Cold Embrace to protect the Gyrocopter, or give him just that passive regeneration either. AKA throw it out in the lane. But they'll now work with DJ. So the Splinter Blast in. Jab takes a lot of damage. They do actually have that point up in Glimpse, so they'll drag back the Slaughter. And with the Rocket Barrage, they find the kill. Queen of Pain trying to find a revenge kill over on the Gyro. It's a level 2 Shadow Strike, but now that Cold Embrace is leveled up for Ned after the kill.
Yeah, Cold Embrace is just such an unbelievable ability. Like, there's nothing really that mirrors it. And you're going to see Fei Mao. He's going to get gone on, but can't really do anything about it. It's just a Gyrocopter. DJ doesn't have that extra level of Glimpse. So the cooldown on it is actually ultimate-like a full 60 seconds. It's only halfway done. In mid lane, Mushi's going to get harassed out a little bit more, but again, this is a lane that you can kind of pressure, but doesn't really lead to anything. Mushi's not really afraid of dying in this lane, so he's not even going to bother backing off in the middle of the creep wave.
Mushi's also got a lot of flash farm behind him, so even if you kill him, you're not going to slow down his progress. And if you don't kill him, then he just gets so far ahead. He's already sitting at the highest net worth, just shy of 3k, 6 minutes in. And not really being contested, even with the rotating supports coming in. But it's a triple stack sitting inside of his jungle at the moment that he can take.
They are rotating to this bottom.
Right now, he actually blinked himself into the Roche to try and help out here, but Mikasa being pushed back out again. Mushi's arriving, and yep, he doesn't have Grave, which means Mushi can finish the job. One more attack should do it, and there she goes. The rest of Signature.Trust retreating down through the river. You do have that blink off cooldown for the Queen of Pain, and Fnatic are just assuming he blinked out of the pit. But instead he hangs around. So only one hero lost for Trust. They actually managed to disengage.
That was not a good engagement, though. You only have a level 2 Dazzle. He's done a really good job of zoning out, but we talked about it. He didn't have a stack to go to. There's no real comeback mechanic for him quite yet. There's like a double stack in the jungle, but not enough so that he justifies being level 2 right now. And he's going to go to this mid lane, but this kind of leaves his Alchemist without a whole lot to do. I guess he can just kind of farm around, but he's not even doing that. Like, he's been forced to go for like this really oddly timed gank.
They're going to try.
That's 2 levels of stun that he's committed, and they're not even going to get a kill for this. Like, this is pretty...
No, in fact, ADTR is going to turn around, throw out the cold down, and with MyPro being glimpsed back in, Jam actually walked back into the middle of the fight. And now he's going to run himself away, but the wall comes up from DJ, just getting out of it in time, but the fissure, Ohio's rotation timing, absolutely perfect. Helps out, and Lakel's now arrives. He's 1-0-0 on his Huskar. And he's going to find absolutely nothing from Fnatic. They already just bail out of here. In fact, they give DJ the space on top, realizing the Huskar's left.
This is pretty horrible now for Signature.Trust. They had a pretty decent start. Like, their Huskar was able to get a lot. They got a kill in that off lane that they shouldn't have been able to get, but now things have completely turned around post-laning phase. Their heroes are just a little bit too underleveled. They're Alchemists. Like, when have you ever seen an Alchemist mid at the 4 at 4th in net worth right now?
Very rarely.
Yeah, that's actually unheard of for me. And
that's also because Fnatic have been doing a fantastic job of rune control.
No, they have. They've denied all the bounty runes. You notice when Ohio went for that block at top, it made him walk all the way around, and he wasn't able to get the rune, so he had no refresh on the bottle. He got his courier sniped, and everything's kind of just been a little bit miserable. Part of what forces out an enemy mid laner like a TA is when you've got kill potential, but with heroes like Queen of Pain and Dazzle and Alchemist, you're going to have 0 kill potential.
Yeah.
And now the Alchemist is even kind of got an inefficient skill build. He's got the 2 levels of unstable concoction. So the comeback gold isn't quite there. Not a lot of levels of acid spray, so even farming the jungle is going to be a little bit inefficient for him. I mean, this game has just kind of gone down in the dumpster for him. He even goes for that gank at bottom that completely fails. He even gets both of them killed. Like, everything is completely gone the wrong way for them.
So their Ancients get scouted out. They can't take enough of the Radiant jungle to really make that time out of the lane worth it. Gonna find a happy place if you're a Trust fan at the moment, because Net's also rotating into the mid. He wants to try and combine. They're gonna need that fissure from Ohio to give them the advantage, and to get that, they'll need to also go into the flight. So, Arctic Burn from Net, and he'll see everything. And in fact, ADTR is also going to be here. There's your fissure on the Queen of Pain. She'll still have enough time to blink out of here, as Mikasa will TP himself in. Alchemist also arriving in the front lines, and Trust are bringing everyone, or at least they were. They cancel the TP on the top lane of the Slaughter. I think that was actually, DJ did that. He glimpsed him. So Jab is unable to TP out. Now DJ puts the wall down as well as the ulti and actually fights the Slaughter face to face underneath the tier 1 tower. Mushi will arrive to claim the kill. So Trust are initially forced to rotate into the middle lane, and then Fnatic just capitalize on the top after great play by DJ.
Yeah, things are really starting to spiral out of control, but it's okay right now. As weird as that sounds, you still have a lot of different options into the mid game, Toby, that we haven't really discussed. Like, they've got the Huskar plus Alchemist, who's getting a Solar Crest combination. That's incredibly powerful. You can't really discuss Myth-Trust or Sig.Trust's lineup until they get that item. Like, once they get a few of their items and their Huskar becomes their frontline tank, if they lose the fight after that, then Sig is probably just going to say, okay, we lost. But until that point, I mean, you might as well play. Like, yeah, their entire lineup is geared around the Huskar, and the Huskar hasn't even appeared yet. So
you're right. It could be 100 times worse. It's just because things haven't been working. It's just like one thing after another just seems to be going wrong for Signature.Trust. But the one thing which is going right is the one thing which is going underneath the radar. The power of Lakel's, the ability for Alchemist to recover. For me, I think the biggest spanner in the works is going to be that Templar Assassin. They can keep her down or kill her off. Then the Huskar can actually do his work, because there's not a lot of damage against him at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be a TA that's frontlining against a Huskar that has a Dazzle. Like, if the Dazzle plays perfect, then it's going to be near impossible to get through. And that's what you want out of this Huskar, is you want him to just be able to play back, you know, throughout as many graves as possible, be just really annoying throughout the fight. And that's why you notice around this 15-minute timing, or 11-minute to 15-minute timing, Fnatic are just going to try to take all the tier 1 towers, play objective gaming. But I think with this medallion up, okay, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I was going to say, with this medallion up, I think you contest that tower.
But with the Dazzle being sent all the way back to the fountain, maybe not so. But the Huskar had a great time. He actually forced a TP from the Wyvern all the way back to fountain from his tier 2 tower. So if he didn't do that, he would have died, because he had to cold embrace himself as well as use his wand charges inside his own fountain to survive from the burning spears. Lakel's just getting more and more space. Now he comes to the middle lane to find more and more farm.
At top, Feimao should be perfectly okay, unless he just steps forward. He's got to be careful. Like, if DJ just drops the
they can kill
there.
Ohio now. If they're ready for it, DJ walks in and then gets a scalp, gets a double ulti off of Mikasa as well as Mypro straight away. There's no chemical rage, and Ohio's Echo Slam hits at the perfect time, giving the extra damage for the Disrupt to pick up the double kill. The Sonic Wave from Feimao, he comes back in for a bit of revenge, killing off that Gyrocopter and saving the life of the Slaughter.
You are so dead.
It's turn on the armor, not even turning on the armor just yet. Now he dives into the tower, and this is some quick kills in succession for Signature.Trust. Even with a great Disruptor ulti like that, which basically deleted the Alchemist, they still come out on top.
Yeah, Lakel's just sets himself on fire. Michael Jordan dunks on him. Nothing that he can do without mana or the fissure. And that fight, again, that wasn't that great for Fnatic. They didn't get any objectives. They lost their 2 cores. They lost their support, or like their Earthshaker, but I mean, all Sig really had to sacrifice there was like 2 heroes. It's not bad.
And a little bit of farm for Mushi on bottom, but that's not even enough now. Like, you finish this Desolator, but we're looking 13, 14 minutes in when he's been taking stacks and ancient stacks as well.
No, everything is determined around this Huskar now for Signature.Trust. And it's been working out pretty decently for them. Like, all of a sudden the score is 8-5, and this is why I was telling you, Toby, like, don't panic. Fnatic haven't wrapped up this game quite yet. If anything, like, this is a fine position for Signature.Trust to be in. When it comes to net worth, they're behind by like 1k. It's absolutely nothing. A Huskar, you go for the Roshan at some point, then turn him into the 5-man machine. There's not a whole lot that Fnatic can do. Just because when you've got your primary damage dealer as a hero like TA, who pretty much counts as a melee at this phase of the game, Lakels could eat him alive. You have Slardar that just amplify damages him. You stay on top of him, you ult him. What can Fnatic really do to keep him alive?
Not really a lot. They don't have that sustain. They kind of just need the instant nuke. Have it where Huskar is just the sole man living there. And MyPro is going to get dragged back over at the moment. And then TP out. He should be out in time, but it's Ohio, as you said, burning up. At the Alchemist.
One hit bash?
That
was optimistic. Okay, that's another death on Ohio. He's nowhere close to his Blink Dagger, by the way. And he's only level 7. He's got less levels than this support disruptor, Toby.
That's also because he died and then the disruptor managed to pick himself up a double kill. So he gained a lot of experience from that. Mushi and DJ, they're up way too far. MyPro's going to come in for the stun. At the same time, Slaughter can't get his. The support's still there from the Queen of Pain. Mushi starting his TP out, realizing the jab is not there. So Mushi, capable of TPing back to base and will survive both the Urn and that Shadow Strike.
They're going to give up Roche, though. This is the thing that I was so worried about, is that when you make a move like that into this bottom lane, it's not even really... The main objective isn't to kill the TA, it's to force him out, because there's no tier 1 tower at bottom, and the tier 1 mid is too far away when there's an amplified damage plus the Solar Crest this early on. And now this is where the game starts. Like, Lakels will get an Aegis, you 5-man behind him, you've got a Slardar that has a Blink Dagger almost fully completed now. Like, this is the point of the lineup. The laning phase didn't have to go well, because this Alchemist is not going to be playing that Radiant style that we've seen. This is meant to be kind of a utility hero. Like, the Huskar is the centerpiece of this strategy.
The funny thing is, too, like, Fnatic, you picked the gyros so early on. They telegraphed what they were going to do. Like, if you did this, like, a fair few months ago, like we're talking 4 or 5 months ago, it would be the same kind of reaction of, like, well, okay, beware of the Huskar, but they didn't ban him out in the second phase. They just let him through.
I mean, it's weird because it's a hero that if you pick it in the right situation, it can almost just lead to an auto win. It's kind of like the Brood in that scenario, but it's very rare that you see teams pick it because it is a little bit off the beat. It's not one of those carries that is super mobile or can punish really hard. But it's one of those matchups where if there isn't a lot of physical damage, he just rips through you. Mushi does have the Deso completed, but you kind of just get hard countered by the fact that this Alchemist has a Solar Crest. The Slardar just gets on top of you. You've got 1 or 2 abilities that are kind of defensive, but like the Huskar plus Slardar kind of rips through Templar Assassin.
Yeah.
It doesn't have something like the Grave.
Because both the supports, like, what have you got? You got Wyvern, and maybe that is where we look to next. The maneuverability of Net. Getting into something maybe like a Blink Dagger means Disrupt will have to sacrifice whatever else he wants to build into. Even then, he might be looking for a Blink Dagger of his own. That's what DJ preferred to go for the other day. Jar actually killing up the top lane, but I'm going to stick with Lakels' players. He's going to life break himself down towards DJ, and DJ, he has no chance of surviving that at all. And Lakels is already looking for his next target. Mushi has to back up, but with Fame out right behind him, he can... Okay, he can't blink forward. He tried to go for the Shadow Strike, but was too far away.
Things reset, though. Picking up the Slardar was a pretty significant kill. You just want to slow things down. You notice that Fnatic are all split around the map, which is surprising when you've got a lineup that features a Gyrocopter. But this is what you have to do. These are the measures that you have to take against the lineup that now features the Aegis on the Huskar. You have to play around that fact.
Well, how long can you do this, though? The longer you do this, the stronger the Archivist is going to get. Yeah, he started off with a pretty nerfed build.
There's actually no way for them to kill Mushi. He's got a TP and a Blink Dagger, and they're going to pick up another kill on the Dazzle. This is pretty successful at this top lane. Fnatic have done such a good job of recognizing the situation that they're in, and they've invaded the enemy jungle, and now they're going to get out. But it's surprising that Sig have lost 2 heroes to that.
It doesn't look like they're trying to get out. It looks like they're trying to actually take over the Dire jungle and keep Trust out. But by doing so, they really isolate Mushi. And now, well, there's your initiation. The Blink Crush, that'll hold Mushi in position.
1, 2, 3.
And now, well, yeah, Lecals does the rest of the work. They brought in Dust as well over on the Queen of Pain. So the Templar Assassin will drop. But Fnatic are trying to fight up on this top lane. There's no Dire Observer Ward watching their exact position, but there was one on the cliff side that saw their movement up to the top lane.
Is that guy about to get a Heaven's Halberd? Yep.
Yeah, he's got the money for it already.
I mean,
Damn, this Huskar's fat.
this is going to be just a huge pain to cut through him at this point.
It almost feels impossible. Like, what happens if Alchemist then starts giving Solar Crest to the Huskar when he jumps in?
That is the that's the crux of the situation right now for Fnatic, is that they can't really kill this Huskar. You're talking about the Solar Crest, but I'm more worried about the Dazzle, like the heal plus the Grave. You're not going to be able to cut through the heal. I don't really know. You just have to continue to split push, look for pickoffs, and then hope that you can play kite around the Huskar game. If the Earthshaker gets a Blink Dagger, you can find an initiation onto the Dazzle and maybe pop him quickly, but it's not going to matter at this point. I think this is the moment where the Huskar says, alright, screw it. I've got these Heaven's Halberd. We've got a whole lot of high ground ability now. There's not a lot of wave clear on the side of Fnatic either.
He's still going to be careful of that. That Aegis of the Immortal's only got 50 seconds left, so Lecals can't play too aggressive once he hits the 2020 on the clock. He really doesn't care. Jab might find Ohio up in this top lane. Feymal's already blinked himself forward. That blink's only level 2, so it's taking him some time to get there. And Ohio quickly responded with the Echo Slam. But now he's used a one-man Echo Slam. The concoction will connect, and Ohio gets destroyed. No way to get back. And again, this Blink Dagger of his gets delayed.
This Huskar is so funny to watch. He's just running at people. Like, he knows his team isn't behind him, but he just doesn't care anymore. They're just going to barrel down through all the mids. And so what Fnatic have to do right now is go, like, just push every lane that you possibly can. Get as much as you can out of this. You're building towards that one big fight where you have as much net worth built up as possible. Because when you decide to go for the split push, you know, when you're going for the 5-man at top like Cigar or the 3-man, you're splitting a lot of experience in farm. It's almost entirely going on the Huskar. So you're trying to get ahead on the individual heroes here.
Wow.
Fnatic.
Be a little more aggressive there, my pro. Sorry, he blinked almost the tier 2 tower while the Huskar was bailing out. The crush on bottom lane. Mushi getting caught.
Nah, he's okay.
You know, he's amplified up, and can they reach him?
No
Look for a bash. Won't get it. Low percentage chance. 10% chance he could have stopped that TP.
He crossed his fingers. He was okay. I believed in him. But this Huskar is getting a little bit out of control. We talked about it before. He's got another item flying on the courier. 1,600 gold. It's going to be the plate mail.
Is this when you feel just so overconfident? Is there any reason to get something like a Shivas and slow down the TA and just say screw it, AC is the way to go for the Huskar?
You definitely go for the AC.
I'm just...
You're the only high ground hero, Toby. Come on, man.
I don't even know why I went there. I'm like, yeah, let's watch him use that mana pool on inner vitality only. Lecal's gonna jump down. The curse will go out, but Ohio's got no response to this, and he's already burning out from both Urn and the burning spears. DJ will get a nice ulti, but Lecal's, he doesn't care. He sits in the middle of it and just shrugs it off.
You don't want to be here.
Jumps forward. The crush will be an 82 hour as well. Fnatic, they're gonna lose everything. Mushy's here to fight too. They brought their whole king caboodle. It's a triple kill for Lecal's. Man, you might almost just want to call GG from here as Jabba Fish to blink down to DJ. The light breaks off cooldown for
You know what doesn't cost mana?
Micro's going to blink to go for the stun. And DJ, well, he'll be beaten down by the Alchemist. Lecals just sits there and watches evilly.
Yeah, this is... You sounded worried about the early game, and I was just like, relax, Toby. It doesn't matter. This is a Huskar draft.
I think I'm affected by yesterday. I'm affected by Signature.Trust performance yesterday.
Did you see Mushi
where it
die?
looks like the draft is absolutely perfect, and then things just go wrong. They go horribly, horribly wrong. But it looks like in this case, Fnatic could dump the entire ability, every ability they have on top of Lecal's, and he would still survive.
Nah, it's pretty funny watching Lecal's 5v1, and then his team kind of like slowly gets there. Like, they're not even that concerned. They're like, you got it. You're gonna solo kill 1v3 against a Disruptor, Winter Wyvern, Gyro. You're okay. Like, you don't really need us. And now the question is, okay, next Roshan, can you defend the high ground push? 8 Ball says no.
I think you need a crystal ball for this one, man. This Huskar is so damn big. A full SMY is now completed as well on MyPro. I think he was trying to encourage Lakels to go into the fights. Because he was blinking so aggressively that he hoped that he'd soak up everything Fnatic has got so then Lakels can walk in, but Lakels kind of wants to get hit. He needs to be low to dish out this huge damage that he does.
I mean, we talked about the draft, and I said, okay, how are you going to kill both the Huskar and the Alk? The Alchemist doesn't have to go for that Radiance build. Like, it's, again, entirely on this Huskar, and beefing him up as much as possible. You've got a hero like Slardar that isn't really meant to be a frontline tank, but you just need something to initiate for the Huskar so that he can chase down people, because he's not a mobile carry. Like, Life Break is not the ability that you want to use to get in close, right?
So you want to, after the AC, get a Blink Dagger over on the Huskar or something?
No.
I mean,
that's your Slardar. You've got all the initiation that you need.
Oh, the blink blindly from Jab. He tried to find DJ, but ended up just going the wrong direction for that one. That's the top tower where Signature.Trust currently getting attacked. Mikasa's going to be the one to TP in. I don't know if he knew that DJ wasn't there or not, but he really loves TPing onto the towers in front of the enemy lineup.
He doesn't care. Honey Badger don't care.
Mushi, what do you want to do, man? MyPro now shows himself on the bottom lane. This is the closest he'll ever come to a pick-off, and it's almost an impossible one at that.
You're not picking off that Alk. Let's be real here. Solar Crested Alk against a TA and he has a DD. Mushi will die.
Yep.
Mushi just has to get a BKB and then hope that he doesn't get 4-shot in the next fight. Which
is a BKB even going to be enough? Like,
no.
He's going to finish it. He needs to have the Monkey King bar as well so he can inflict some damage.
It's not going to be close to enough. He needs an MKB bare minimum, like you said. And then they need a lot of items on their Earthshaker. Because he
top
needs
lane. Here they go. The Blink Echo over on 2. Jab and Mikasa caught out. And no way to reply. The TP will come in from MyPro, but he's there too late. And not a heavy commitment. The BKB from ADTR wasn't used. Ned still has his Blink Curse. Ohio, however, did have to commit the Echo Slam for this, but this buys now space for Mushi to finish his BKB. Obviously, there's still a Huskar on the field, but
you just kind of deal with that later. It's one of those situations where there's so many things going wrong right now that you kind of just say, we'll get to that mountain when we have to deal with it. You kind of have to just ignore Lakels, play around him. He has an AC now and Roshan is up. It's going to get real difficult, but Fnatic, they just have to eke out every little bit of farm that they can, Toby, before this next major engagement. And that's what you're seeing. Like, they're playing this right. Fnatic are splitting around the map, but trying to farm. Nobody's really getting picked off. They're even securing the Dire Jungle, which is something that I really didn't think they'd be able to do, but it's just a matter of, can you kill the Alchemist and the Huskar? Can you stop the Slardar from just initiating on you? Huskar's got the second Aegis picked up. He's got all the high ground items that he needs. He's got the Solar Crest, the Heaven's Halberd, the Assault Cuirass. No one is even sniffing MKB territory.
no.
And so this is going to be the most dangerous part of the game. If Fnatic can kind of somehow hold without getting double raxed, and they get double MKB on their cores, then maybe you can do it.
You're thinking of a very dreamlike scenario right now for Fnatic.
I'm trying to... this is sort of my job, right? Is try to see how things can go okay.
Stop doing it, Mikasa. he TP'd himself on top of the tower. Now he can't help that. He's Slaughter, who's going to go down. MyPro blinks forward, looking for the concoction. They go to the trees, but Ohio, protected by the Cold Embrace. Support's coming in from the Queen of Pain, but there's no Echo Slam, there's no Storm, but the curse is available. Buying time for Ohio just to TP himself away to safety. Meanwhile, Mushi farming bottom lane his Monkey King bar. Taking a little bit longer.
Yeah. Lakel's watch, though. He knows that 4 of his teammates are at top. 1 had just died already. Doesn't even care. This is the beauty of Huskar as a Dota hero.
Ohio's pretty much ready to go here, but then again, what does he do? His Echo Slam's off cooldown in 10 seconds time. That'll be the only opportunity they've really got. Lakel's, he could get glimpsed back. There goes your fissure.
He's completely alone.
Yep. He doesn't care.
Chance. Nope. Can't do it. Not going to be able to do it.
ADTR doesn't have the damage. Mushi at least forces some TP rotations out of bottom lane. Blink Rush actually catching Mushi out. He's got Meld available, and do they have detection? Yeah, they got Dust. But Mushi just BKBs, Meld strikes, and then actually wants to try and have a crack over a jab. Support coming in from Ohio, but he knows that Mushi needs to find this kill. But can he survive the Echo Slam? actually cancelling MyPro, so he ends up self-stunning himself.
MyPro?
And now Mushi
MyPro?
can go to work.
You're
He's
gone.
gonna go down, and Mushi jumps
Mushi
forward,
gets a
even
courier
grabbing
too.
the courier too. ADTR was in the neighborhood, and the rest of Signature.Trust were thinking about rotating over. The female had to move back. He was being chased by a homing missile, and Lakel's, he said he's not really maneuverable. Maybe BTs, it's time for that.
Yeah, they're doing such a good job of just ignoring him completely. And this is the right thing to do. Out of sight, out of mind. Like, the Huskar doesn't exist. Just kill everybody else as much as you can. Try to get jumped up.
Oh, Lakel's, he's going to force it. He comes down, he sees Ohio. Ohio blinks and takes him so far down. Ohio, he'll TP out, but he should actually burn inside the base.
No,
4
okay,
burning
he's
spears.
okay.
With the 1 charges? Yeah, he's not going to die. He'll stay alive. And DJ, okay, now the TP will happen. There's no stuns available. They could have committed Sonic Wave with the... But it wasn't a guaranteed kill, so they held on to it.
They are playing this so well against a Huskar that they can't kill. They're just like, okay, well then we'll just fight against the mobility of the Huskar, split around the map as much as we possibly can, make it difficult for them to just 5-man group. Because when it comes down to a 5-man fight, like if everybody from Signature.Trust decides, okay, we're just going to 5-man for this, then Fnatic probably can't hold. But they're delaying the timing by so much right now. It's actually taking Fnatic, or it's taking Signature.Trust way too long to get online. Because they have to deal with the constant split push. Mushi is continuously farming. Now he's got the Demon Edge. Like, after that bottom engagement where he gets 2 kills, 1 on the Alchemist, and then even sniping the Courier, his game is kind of reset back into normal territory.
Gyrocopter. Yeah, that's a very quick kill. Neb blinked himself out to try and help out his teammate, and then realizes that's futile. At the same time, Ohio well caught behind the lines, and he'll end up going down too. Not quite sure exactly what that blink was from MyPro, but either way, it's still 2 heroes down for Fnatic.
Yeah, and now this is where the punishment comes in from Team Signature.Trust. They should just group up in 5.
Well, actually, maybe they can even go for Mushi. Jab just, okay, Mushi BKBs, melds, and then waits.
He's got blink in 1 second. He's probably just going to blink TP.
Well, last time he did that, he actually attacked onto Jab, but he blinked and then went into an open area. So Jab saw him, even gets the 1 bash out. Support's rotating over. He's hoping the Jab won't find another bash, and hope will be successful. TA gets back to safety. And now only 1,200 gold away from having that MKB.
Yeah, but the real pressure's starting to come in now. Lakel's is just going to go for the 5-man. He's like, guys, ignore him. He's like, it's just Mushi doing Mushi things.
MyPro's coming.
Yeah, just go. Everybody come in.
MyPro?
MyPro?
Jumps over.
Oh,
Mushi
MyPro,
will
not
try
like
and capitalize. It's like, he's playing bait. He's playing bait.
That definitely wasn't bait. He meant to stun somebody there.
If he committed too heavily, if he committed like that, the rage
Alright,
would heal him up.
Lakel's
Lakel's just life breaks in, then jumps straight back out again. Ohio, he's actually got Blink Echo Slam. The issue is this acid spray keeping him out. So Trust has to be careful. Lakel's be dragged back again by the glimpse and held him by the wall, but there's no way Fnatic can initiate on him.
Hey, how hard do you want to go in for this right now? This was their best opportunity, but unfortunately the Aegis runs out. And it might force Sig to kind of just say, okay, let's reset. But they're going to, in fact, smoke up. Maybe look for a pickoff. If they could go really quickly with this Slaughter or this Alchemist.
There it is. They found the Gyrocopter. Sonic Wave's out too. Cold Embrace protecting the Gyrocopter for now. But still, the Burning Spear's starting to stack up. Can they keep him alive? No, they cannot. But maybe there is a revenge here in the form of the death of the Slaughter. The Echo Slam from Ohio. No fissure available. They do bring down the Slaughter, but at the cost of the Earthshaker. Buyback coming now in from the Gyrocopter. Never Cold Embrace enough to keep him alive. But Lakel's going in deep. Mushi now has to go one-on-one with the big-ass Huskar. There's just too much armor, even with the Meld Strike. He's still sitting over 30 armor. And Lakel's, how do you kill him? TJ has no ulti. You have no Earthshaker to do his control. And now MyPro comes in for another stun as ADTR. They really cannot afford to lose him. The Glimpse will drag the Huskar back. So ADTR has a little bit more room to breathe here. But Lakel's just keeps going. Mushi back to the front lines. With a rocket, they at least keep Lakel's locked in position for the moment, but the blink forward from Jab, making more space. MyPro, he goes in as well. The Sonic Wave is available, and everyone's lined up. He'll only hit DJ, however, and the cooldown mopping up the Creep Wave, actually hitting into the back of both the Queen of Pain as well as the Dazzle, and Mushi is able to at least get the kill on the Dazzle, so there's no Shallow Grave, but there's just so much damage from Lakel's. The Mushi is no more. He has no buyback. Ohio's being chased down, but he'll get back out to safety, but Lakel's just too strong on the front lines. He just doesn't seem to be able to die, no matter how hard Lakelz tries.
That was their best opportunity to kill Lakelz. He was pretty much isolated by himself with like a quarter of HP, and they still weren't able to bring him down. At this point, Fnatic have to kind of just say, it doesn't even matter if he has Aegis or not, we can't kill him. They've got a Satanic on him now too. They don't have the best crowd control for him. You've got the Earthshaker Fissure and the Winter's Curse, but you can't burst him in that time period. Not against the Shallow Grave. I just really don't understand what they're going to do against this Huskar as the game progresses, because he still has room to grow. And it doesn't really look like he wants to stop. They just continue to pile on the items. This Alchemist dies really quickly, which is one really good thing for them.
Disruptor might die even quicker. Whoops. Disruptor, he'll get the ulti off as well as Glimpse. Jab, he accidentally crushed before trying to blink. So, Disruptor gets to keep his life for now.
It's okay, though. I mean, they didn't lose anything on either side, but Fnatic, they were playing it pretty well, but when push came to shove, you eventually had to fight the Huskar, and once they did, it went pretty miserably. And that's the strength of Huskar as a hero, is that sometimes he can just win a game 1v5 for you, regardless of how well your team plays. Because his team did not play perfectly around him by any stretch. Like, they got picked off a lot, Fnatic did a really good job of rotating around the map, but it didn't quite matter because Huskar, in this kind of game, there's almost nothing that can stop him.
Yeah. Well, there is one thing. And I'm looking at it on Disruptor, potentially. If he gets Naganims, then you have no Satanic. You have no ability to armlet toggle. Like, that's one thing that can stop that growth he has.
Yeah. You have to separate him from... You have to catch the Dazzle at the same time, though. They have to play this fight nearly perfectly. Because it all comes down to killing the Dazzle, which they really haven't been able to do in the beginning of the fight. He's just got so much armor anyways, Toby. Like, before you could kill him with physical damage, now you can't. He's got 32 armor.
And he's got 32 armor before Weave.
Yeah.
Even then, like, you can look at the difference between them. When you start like looking at the armor, when you got amplification as well as the ability to have aggressive weaves, there's just nothing on Fnatic. But this 14 armor of Templar Assassin just gets stripped away, so she can't stand the fight either. And now Roshan, like, he stands no chance. The cheese will go to the Alchemist. The Aegis Immortal is again back in the hands of the Huskar. Even though he seems to be more of the immortal one, I'm surprised they gave it to him.
Just make sure double lock.
Net's going to get off this hill. Gets rid of the Observer Ward in time, and no one from Trust can reach him. But there's that Aghanim Scepter now on for Disruptor. Actually, did he sell? I think he sold off some items to get to that.
Yeah, he got rid of his Arcane Boots. And, yeah, okay.
So they're going to smoke, and then try and attack from a different angle. Away from the Acid Spray. Mushi is going to be the main man on the front lines, however, so... Lakelz comes up, they realize no one's there. And who do they get? Like, that's a big group up. MyPro just stunned himself up too, because he didn't see anyone on the high ground. He was not expecting that. And now Net, the Fissure actually stunning over on the Slider. A big Echo Slam from Ohio, catching out the Dazzle. Will he get back? Yeah, he will. He's still got Shallow Grave available, but the Gyrocopter, no, there's just not enough damage. The Alchemist will actually get Shallow Graved. Huskar's ready to fight. They just haven't achieved enough with this. The Alchemist actually gets the cheese off as well, so they get nothing from that. You'll get the curse, which keeps the Queen of Pain in the back line. So Lakelz, he just goes ham so deep at the moment, and there's nothing left for Fnatic to do apart from tap out with a GG. They are getting destroyed inside their own base, even inside their own fountain. Maybe Ohio can get something in return, but okay, yeah, no, they can't get jack. This game belongs to Signature.Trust.
No, that draft win from Signature.Trust was absolutely sick. Like, you saw that even the execution wasn't quite perfect. It didn't quite matter. They just had a hero that, no matter what Fnatic did, they couldn't adjust around. The Templar Assassin was a decent idea, but they just couldn't get the Roshan going. Like, when they were split at bottom and they were able to just take care of it. I mean, that first Roshan meant quite a lot. They lost a lot of map control after that point and just weren't able to punish hard enough.
Well, it seals the victory right now for Signature.Trust, as they will actually be putting that first place in jeopardy. It is only the #1 position from each group stage which will advance to the LAN final. So every loss makes a big difference, especially when you get 3 points for the full victory. Can Signature.Trust answer back and actually take the full 3 points? Stay tuned, we're going to find out. We'll be back.